I apologise. Apparently. I don't know why. Don't know why I've got frame drops. Don't know what's going on. The downside of not knowing anything about technology is that I don't know anything about technology. So who wants to come and build my exhibition for me? Kay. Kay, have you started your next thing yet? What are we doing? Do you know which company you're doing it on? I proofread these were not short. The one before that was not short. If anybody would like me to prove 2,000 words or less, I'd be really happy. Ah. Do you want to? You're a dick. I would just like everybody to know that my sister is a dick. I like to keep a diary. So yeah. Kaylee, I have an actual physical blog now with actual words and everything. I think I type really loudly. Mate, I have had a day. I was doubled over at one point because Big decided that we were going to have the monthly issues and go full into actual pain. I was lucky that my tutor had like painkillers on her today because mine were not touching the sides. Over whilst simultaneously trying to do my work. And then the confusion, there's confusion, right? Well, I do apologise. Oh, excuse me one moment. Let me just send a message to my husband. There we go. Oh, it's because I've been on here for like an hour already. Am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's being a dick. Yeah, so I did stuff today, but there's a bit of confusion about the stuff that it did today because according to the module guide and one of the tutors, you'll love this, Kay. You'll love this, right? You know, I told you that we're doing the group work. That's due in on the 8th. And then the individual work is due in on the 15th. And that when I spoke to one of my tutors, that tutor had said that at the end of the group work, that's when you do your individual work, and you had that in the week after, because I was very concerned about having to do a 2,000 word report in a week. Today, a different tutor has said that the 2,000 word report stroke project proposal stroke design thing is being shown as part of what we're presenting to the clients, including the design boards. So when are they doing? What am I doing? Oh my goodness. I know, right? I was just sat there going, yeah, but I don't know what's going on. So Leonie's like the tutors, I'm allowed to say tutors' names. Leonie's had to go and find out what's going on because she's saying you all need to learn this because it's part of your presentation. The handbook and the other tutor are saying something else entirely. It's right, it's because, Angel, this year the staff are all different. So last year, web design and things like that was Sebastian. Lee still did group work. but things were done a little bit differently last year. So we have a new tutor for one lot, and then another tutor has just moved house, is about to have a baby, if they've not already had a baby. I know that they're not in tomorrow, they've been covering by somebody else. So there's a lot going on with the tutors in the changes from last year to this year, as well as their personal lives, which is fair. You know, we've all got lives and everything, but it kind of leaves us that, like, if you read the handbook, it says one thing. If you speak to a tutor, they say one thing. If you speak to another tutor, they say another thing. I'm already stressed over the fact that, I mean, I was stressed before today, and today we were reminded we only have 6 weeks left on this one project and I might die. Like, what do you mean I've only got 6 weeks left? What? Quick, draw something. So yeah, it's a little bit concerning that I don't know when these design boards are meant to be done by. And just to throw a little bit of a into the works, no, absolutely not. I do not agree with people throwing food on artwork of any kind, whether it's drawn by a child or Van Gogh, or supergluing themselves to a wall or a motorway. I used to do a lot of protesting in my days. I have sat in trees to stop trees being cut down. I have stood in the way of fox hunts. But seriously, surely, right, if you want people to stop drilling for oil, a better way to do it would be to, I don't know, go and protest outside the, what are you doing? Why is there a fly? Is to go and protest outside the oil company's building. Is that not, can we use a little bit of a, just, you know, relevance? What? And apparently the reason they used tomato soup on the sunflowers, happen to be wearing that now, is because they were trying to say, and I don't know how anybody was meant to get this message across, but they were trying to say that there were people who couldn't afford to heat a tin of soup, and what was more important, art or... And I'm like, well, firstly, nobody's ever going to get that message from you throwing soup over a Van Gogh. Secondly, the tiny bit of damage they did to the frame cost £5,000 to fix. And you're protesting in the wrong way by annoying people. That's not how you get the job done. Like, not ever. It doesn't work. I mean, you can tell by the fact that after the Insulate Britain people all superglued themselves to the motorway and suddenly we've all got house insulation. Oh no, wait. Yeah, literally. They wasted food to prove a point. And the thing is, right, is what they're then going to do, because logic, you're saying that people cannot afford to heat a tin of soup, and that should be why they stopped drilling for oil. Big pharma companies, the government and everything else are going to go, people cannot afford to heat soup, let's drill for more oil so that we can give it to them for heating. What is wrong with people's brains? No, there are correct ways of protesting, and I am all for protesting, but do it in the right way. If you want to protest against oil, go and protest outside the oil companies' houses and stuff like that. If you want to protest against the rising costs of heating, go and protest outside the energy companies. Be relevant with your protesting. Throwing food, which is a waste of food, over a priceless work of art, whether you've checked it out, whether it's covered with glass or not, and then super glued yourself to a wall to make it harder for them to arrest you. I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. So no, I do not agree with it. I don't agree with the people who did the mashed potato in Germany. Oh really? We don't want to get me started on vegans. I'll offend somebody. The thing is, it's like, if you wanted to protest against milk, go to a dairy farm. What? Am I missing something? It is like, did I just grow up in the wrong era? I don't understand sometimes. I can't. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. And the worst thing is protesting like that is gonna, and they're already looking at bringing in bills that take away our right to protest. And they're talking about making it so that everybody who's protested in the last few years goes on a list. Now, thankfully, it's not going to go back far enough to affect me, I don't think. But by protesting in the wrong way, you're taking away everybody else's right to protest. Okay. Any other art-related questions for the day? Will you stop eating yourself? It's really noisy. My dog's like just bathing over here. Right, okay. Yeah, again, I don't think that AI art can take over from traditional art. I can come across as being quite blunt. I can, and I am very aware of that, and I do apologise. And I can come across as being quite rude at first, because sometimes, especially if I'm typing or if I'm trying to get something out really quickly, or I know that I don't have a lot of time to respond and I need to get a response out now, I don't think about it, it just comes out. The joys of having a brain that works differently. I have a lot of those. I don't always say things in the right way. I don't always word things correctly. Recently discovered that when I walked up to a woman and I went, "Oh, I was harassing one of your group the other day." And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you." I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, if you were harassing one of my group, I don't want to talk to you." I was like, "No. What I meant was, I spoke to them for a really long time." Didn't mean like harassing. Yeah, I have quite a strong opinion on AI. I'm quite thankful and grateful in my belief that AI can never take over from traditional artists. And then, actually, after we had that conversation, a robot stood up in a court, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, and said the exact same thing as I did, in that AI doesn't have the same emotion and passion or lack of passion that a human being has. And because of that thing, that fundamental thing that sets us apart from robots and AI and everything else, that conscious emotional balance and presence when we create our art, AI can never replace us for that one reason. They can recreate brush strokes, they can take stock images, they can learn what they are told, but they can never create something with their own passion or their own depression or their own emotions. And for that one reason, above all else, AI will never take over from traditional art. And also, right, when the internet implodes, I'll still be over here with my brush. Yeah, that's it. That's it. If I concentrated on just doing fan art, let's say I decided that my career for the rest of my life was literally doing Transformers fan art, AI could do that quite easily. What AI can't do is add my opinion onto that. So I don't just do fan art, what I tend to do is I'll do some floral work. But if I'm doing a specific bad guy from Transformers, I'll research him and then I'll look into the language of flowers. And like, I'll make an example up, alright? Let's decide that this cup is a bad guy. And this bad guy is particularly nasty. He likes to torture people. He's also quite arrogant. So I will then go, right, so let's find out what flowers stand for arrogance, what flowers stand for ignorance, and I will look into those. And we'll say this is the flash. It's not flashing. Damn it. Let's say that this is the flower that I've come up with, and this is the Agnoramus ignoramus, right? So I'm now going to paint this behind that picture of that transformer. That's just taken me 4 days of research. AI can't do that. You know? I can tell AI to do that, but it's not the same. It's just one of those things. One day, many, many generations of my family in the future, and your family, and everybody else's family, maybe AI will be able to replace a traditional artist. In the meantime, my job is safe. My underpaid job that does not cover the rent in a time where we can't afford to eat or heat the house or anything else, and I'm trying to convince people that they want a pretty picture, right? Maybe I should leave it to the AI. Yeah, this is the argument I had in lockdown as well. I argued a lot about art in lockdown because obviously art was seen as to be not as important as every other industry during COVID. All right, so you're like, we need to concentrate on everybody else. You know, we need to concentrate doctors, nurses, whatever. You know, artists. We need you to retrain. What? We need you to all retrain because art's not important. Oh, wait a minute, right? Don't tell me art is not important and then go home and put a film on. Don't tell me that art is not important and then surround yourself with ornaments and pictures, or even something as simple as a print on a t-shirt. Don't tell me art is not important and then buy stuff based on the label. Every single thing that we do generally has an artist behind it. Whether that's a graphics artist, whether that's, you know, a fine artist, a traditional artist, a digital artist, somewhere along the lines, an artist has been involved. And that it's one of my biggest things. I got so annoyed about that whole thing when they're all like, artists have got to retrain. Art is so important, just on a very basic side of things. What would you go like? self-care. Right now, to sell self-care and mindfulness and all this, people are going, why don't you sit down and draw a mandala with me? Today, children, we will be drawing mandalas, and we will be calm, and we will be breathing, and we will be making art. You know, like, go do a pottery class for your self-care. Okay, I'll go make this piece of art. Sit and crochet a jumper. That's still art. Art is literally everywhere. Without art, we would be living in a very, very, not even grey, because that's a shade of colour, black and white world, you know. Art is essential for people's brains. And this is a scientific, right, before, not all of you know this, some of you do. Before I was an artist, I studied biomedical sciences for 4 years, and before that I studied holistic therapy. So my background is actually in medicine and science, right? Science has proven that the human brain needs certain things for stimulation. It needs logic puzzles, it needs certain artistic input, and it needs constant updates. All right, so you know, whether you're learning something, those synapses need to keep going, they can keep firing. That is what your brain needs from a scientific point of view. So from a scientific point of view, your brain needs for you to go to an art gallery or look at a sculpture or see a packet of cornflakes. All right, your brain needs it. It needs that mental stimulation. Without that mental stimulation, your synapses stop firing. Everything kind of goes to hell, really. I have a medical background to back this up. So next time somebody says artists need to retrain, slap them. Don't slap people. Please don't slap people. Verbally slap them. Okay, because artists don't need to retrain. Non-artists need to understand that art is just as important as every other industry. Without art, there is nothing else. Without art, there is no clothing. Without art, there is no... Yeah, and it's also why they now try and allow people to have at least some way of having a creative outlet, even if it's just a pack of wax crayons that they can't hurt people with. They do try to have a creative outlet. In Kaylee's case, she's gonna slap people. It's fine. That is Kaylee's creative outlet. Parenting is an art. It's what I was not very good at. Oh dear. That's been fun. This. Okay. I have cake. Shortly I'm going to go away and eat cake and watch The Mentalist and make your daughter's hat. Any other questions before I go away and eat cake? I need to actually make some art on stream again soon. I might make a new frog. Ouch. But you didn't buy me one, did you? Go buy me a new coat. Preferably one that's waterproof. None of my coats are waterproof. Although today wasn't so bad. I did decide to leave the house today dressed exactly for the weather that it was like this morning. Hoping and praying that it'd still be like that later. Because I was wearing my Crocs and everything today. Thank you for coming in. I'm usually here on the Wednesday because it's after class. And I'm sorry if I was rude to you. I do come across a little bit brash. But please always feel free to come back and ask questions. I eventually will get back to making art around here. And I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and here, all under Gothfrog Art. Right, and on that note then, I'm going to go away. I'm going to eat this cake. I'm probably going to continue talking to my sister, but I'm going to turn this really bright light off that's in my eyeballs. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their week and weekend. Stay warm, stay safe. Self-care is your priority, as always. Can't look after anybody else if you can't look after yourself. I'll see you later. And I still don't know where the end button is. There it is. Okay. Bye!